What's good with it, y'all? Welcome to Ready Tape. As y'all know what it is, man, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this that you about to see. But we're going to hop right into it, man. Post-game, Minnesota Vikings, week 2, we get the dub. And not to my surprise, I figured we was going to get that because the Vikings had quarterback problems, and they don't even know who their QB2 is. And that's going to start me off with saying I'm still impressed with Jarrett Stidham, man. He comes in acting like he knows the system, and rightfully so. He's been with Josh McDaniels for a while now. I think it's 3 or 4 years, correct me if I'm wrong. But he comes in looking very experienced and continuing to have this offense roll. Now, I have noticed the red zone woes. If you think about it, last week we also went out and scored a couple of field goals to open up our drives, and today we go out and open up a drive with a field goal and couldn't finish. That was really with a lot of main guys, so it's real interesting to see how this red zone is going to be when we actually have Devontae Adams, Waller, Renfro, and so on and so forth. So with that being said, Mullen stepped up today as well. He had a very great throw to DJ Turner, and he made other great throws to Demarcus Robinson as well. So I think he's going to be in contention for QB2, but Stidham, I think, has it locked. We traded for him, and he's going to stay. But speaking of DJ Turner, he had himself a game, and I'm really excited because looking at the depth chart, when the depth chart came out, we see Hunter Renfro as a return man. I think we need to take a step back and say, no, we don't need to do that. We already just paid him a good amount of money, and we know he's one of the best slots in the league. Why would you want to go out there and risk him getting hurt on a return when you have a guy that does it perfectly fine in DJ Turner? And we've seen that today. He goes out there and gets a nice return for about 30 yards. But not only that, he was able to get wiggly in the slot and go out there and score a 35-yard touchdown. Great throw from Nick Mullins as well. So that was something I'd love to see, and hopefully we can have him make the roster, potentially be on that special teams. Moving over, though, to the offensive line, man. This is the elephant in the room. Let's be honest, man. Thayer Munford goes out there and has a good game. And I was wrong the whole time. The whole time I thought he wasn't going to really contend and push Alex Leatherwood for that starting spot. I honestly didn't think he would, because based on the experience, based on Alex Leatherwood starting last week, going out there and performing the way he did, Thayer Munford go out there today and start, and he actually has a polished game. Alex Leatherwood comes in later in the second half, doesn't finish, but comes in for over a quarter and has himself a decent game as well. Definitely looking great in the run, but needs to polish up in that pass protecting. Out on the perimeter, he looks like he's uncomfortable in Alex Leatherwood, and he has guard written all over him, let's be honest. But I would love to see him develop into that tackle. I mean, he does have strengths that I think he could be a great offensive lineman. Now, when it comes to Thayer Munford, he's just built different, man. If you look at the way he's built, he has a lot more length, and he does seem a little bit more comfortable out there on the perimeter. Now, 2 years ago, he played left tackle at Ohio. Now, he moved to right guard last year, and now he's playing right tackle in this preseason game. So I want to see more of Munford. You know, I'm not going to write him off, but I definitely think Leatherwood is still the front runner at right tackle, in my opinion. I'd be surprised if we've seen anything different. When Josh McDaniels was asked about the offensive line, he said we had great depth at the tackle spot. So I'm assuming he must be confident in Colin Miller starting, and then whoever in his mind thinks will start at right tackle, that we have a backup, whether it is Munford or Leatherwood, or even James Illuminor, who went out there and played well at left tackle and a lot better than Brandon Parker did. With that being said, the Vikings are a team that don't have a great edge rush. Okay, so I don't think today was a good assessment of the offensive line. I believe his name is Patrick Jones. He went out there and he did pretty well. But at the same time, I don't think this team is a good team to evaluate off. You look at the Jags last week, and Brandon Parker had to go up against the #1 pick in Travon Walker and was really getting dog-walked, let's be honest. And then Arden Key is an experienced edge rusher that we are familiar with. So we went up against better pass rushers last week. Now, next week we go up against the Dolphins, and I would really be interested to see if the Dolphins go out there and start Jalen Phillips and some of their edge rushers to see how they hold up now. See how our defense holds up, because you know their defense is going to be better than the last 2 teams we played. Let's be honest. They have reigning good defense with Brian Flores, and now they have a new coach in McDaniels. So, but moving to the defensive side of the ball, y'all, I wanted to keep my eye on a specific player, Bryce Cosby, and today he got beat for a touchdown. So that was somewhat disappointing because I was really hoping he would be able to make his way through this roster, through this depth chart, and find his way to a big nickel or some type of nickel or slot spot. And because last week he looked pretty decent last week. But the run game definitely folded in the middle of the game. There was definitely some adjustments that had to be made after that first couple of series. Andrew Billings did have himself a good game on the interior line, but as far as Matthew Butler and Neil Farrell, those two were out there but didn't really handle or control the defensive line or the line of scrimmage. They were kind of running the ball and we could not stop them. Kellen Mond even missed a couple of throws and they were still able to make it all the way downfield. Now later on in the game, Kellen Mond was able to find some rhythm and score a touchdown, but at the same time, we have to solidify the middle of that defense. Now we know who's on the PUP list. We got our veterans on the PUP, and they should come back prior to week 1. But it's something we definitely have to keep an eye out for because our defense is really our defensive line is all edge. Let's be honest. And that brings me to the point of Malcolm Koonce. Malcolm Koonce goes out there and gets himself another sack, and there was a scare to where he got hurt. And in my opinion, what else do we need to see from Malcolm Koonce? I don't think we need to see anything from Malcolm Koonce anymore for him to be in the preseason games and be susceptible to being hurt. We already know Cleveland Farrell is dealing with some stuff, and he's owed $10 million, so he's not going anywhere. And then Fackrell was out and put on IR, so that's another edge rusher that we had in mind. And Koonce, honestly, is the third guy on the edge, in my opinion, outside of Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. So I would be devastated for this defense if he were to go out there and have some type of injury. So we need to keep an eye on that for that as well. Patrick Graham definitely favors the pass game. He definitely wants to stop the pass game and doesn't worry as much about the run, I would say, in my opinion, after breaking down his film and watching it. It definitely proves that it works because he's been able to stop these offenses these 2 weeks with the players that he put out there. Abrams been looking pretty smooth in the positions he's been put in. So I'm excited to see what happens week 3 when we go out there against Miami because I think that's going to be a lot better football team and they have a lot more talent. That defense is going to be a lot more tough on the offense when we go out there and we roll out week 3 in the preseason. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think about DJ Turner ultimately taking over that special teams role. I mean, we have to find a guy that can solidify the return game. I know Hunter Renfrow is a good returner and he's done it many times, but I don't think it's worth the risk. Kind of like with Malcolm Koonce. Let me know what you guys think about Malcolm Koonce as well. Risking him to go out there as well to get hurt when we know, in my opinion, we should know what Malcolm Koonce is already. This coaching staff is new, but at the same time, they should probably have an idea, right? He's gotten 2 sacks already. Watch the film from last year and, just have the man sit out because I would hate for something to happen. Appreciate y'all tuning in, man. If y'all want, go ahead and check our redemption brand. I just dropped these new gray hats. They just dropped at 2 o'clock, so go ahead and check those out. If you want to find some merch, find me on Instagram at Rated Tape as well as Twitter. And, until next time, y'all, Rated Tape.